What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy, bringing you another gold nugget that you can either pick up or you can just kick it aside. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you all out here. You know, I'm out here in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, just chilling out and come to, this place that we would call life. Yeah, you know, um, I'm just wanting to share some light on some things. My subject matter, don't call me African.
And I just want us to listen to Go Back to Africa, where he has dissociated himself from being an origin of an African, or he doesn't have an identity of African. Now, if you're someone who have always been following Go Back to Africa, you'll find that he has always been someone who was, I don't know, they call him the sender or the messenger to come and distract the black people not to come to Africa. Now, there's a say that I want to quote it for you here, that Go Back to Africa once argued that when an African elephant is taken to America and it begets a club, the club is still an African elephant. This is where it was born does not change. This means that where it was born does not change. It was born does not change what it is. This was a say which was an antic of Floyd Mayweather. Being African actually is not for sale. That's all. We welcome those who want to return home, and we as YouTubers and the people, we always welcome people who want to come home. But we will also accept the decision of those who don't want to come back home, because right now Go Back to Africa has say that it's from Israel. There's so much things he is talking about Israel. If you're someone who have always followed this channel, now, before even we start listening to his thing, I want to give you that being said, there are some people born in Africa who don't want to be called an African. You also have to take that. And also there are some people who are born in America, but they have the identity of Africa. But they don't want to come to Africa because they believe their ancestors are staying in America. But that doesn't mean that I want to associate myself in these cases where I want to force people to come to Africa. No, actually the reason why I created this channel was to create awareness about the identities, those who lost their identities in Africa, and also to welcome people who want to join African land. It is very, very okay for you to also accept that you are born in America, and also you were born in Africa, but you don't want to accept that your origin is from Africa. It is just okay. But unapologetically African, it is who we are, and it is also okay for you not to say I'm from Africa. Okay? Now listen to what this our boy said in this video. Then I'll just come back and we'll talk much as possible.
I just took a look up here, interesting enough. Look at that. I just noticed this right here. This is the grand sculpture of what they would say Jesus Christ is up there on top of the mountain. I'm supposed to go out there tomorrow to go ahead and get a glimpse of that. Anyway, I just took notice of that while I'm just standing here. Wow. For y'all who are coming in, I hope that you all would walk with me on this journey as I begin to get out here to the shore side. I'll be walking out here. So walk with me on this journey, you all, because I believe I have something that's going to be prevalent, profound, proficient in what I'm saying, because today, many of us are naming ourselves many things. We've gone from Comedics, Nubians, we've gone from Negroes to Black to Africans to Israelites to Hebrews to Jews and it continues. We have, even within the confounds of our cities and our states, have identified ourselves with fraternities and sororities and affiliations with, religions, Muslims and Christians and Hindus and all of these different titles and labels. I'm right here next to this, what you would call many names. But let me ask you, what is this? We're gonna discuss this of identifying. What is this right here? And please participate in sharing as I go along my journey. I'm gonna walk along this path over to here. But I want us to participate. What is this right here? This whole thing right here. A rock, a hill, a mountain. What do you say this is? As I said before, and as y'all come in again, somebody said a mountain with a question mark. But what is this? Participate, y'all. Stay with me. It's going to take me 15 minutes to probably walk over, if not a little longer. Because we have been indoctrinated into our societies, we have fallen into identities based upon with our family network, our city, our country, our religions, even our own beliefs and perceptions. We have created names that we will feel like we're something. Now stay with me on that. What is this? What is this? What is this right here? What would you call it? I don't see the answers coming in. But what I find is that over the years, I myself have had put labels upon me and have identified myself with many things. Now at the age of almost 58, I am evolving into removing labels and titles from off of me. I have identified based upon world's opinions, world views, world's definitions, world's cultural injunctions. Does that go with what? The world's injections, the world's, way of pushing its beliefs and views upon you. Many of us walked away from many of that and decide we're gonna do it ourselves and call ourselves what we believe we are. Like I said, those coming in, what is this? I'm walking around this, we got many names, but it's interesting. What is it? Hold tight, people, hold tight, because the gold nugget's gonna come, it's gonna free many people. And I sat here and, contemplating on how can I present this, and I'm like, I gotta let something greater than me be able to explain this. I can't do it in my own way. So I was given this. What is this? What is that? Somebody said sound of a mound. Rocky. Somebody said a rocky outcrop. Come on, y'all. We got 353 people. I should have 353 answers. It's very simple. I mean, to put an answer down. Because what we think something is may not necessarily be. I know many of us are afraid to put answers because we have been conditioned not to be wrong. We're so afraid of being wrong, or I don't even like to say wrong, afraid of having an answer that may be opposing to what the presenter is giving. Somebody said a hill, a mountain, temple, a rock. Now we got trees in the way, a structure, Yeah, so, you know, I hope y'all can hear me clear. This wind is blowing, but just stay with me, y'all. Removing layers of identity is the man's biggest fear. And why do I say that? Because he will be exposed. You know, when we can identify with something or identify ourselves with something, we believe it brings credence. It validates who we are. Somebody's gonna ask the question. What is that? That's the question. What is this? When we identify ourselves and we put labels on ourselves, we feel like we are part of, we are connected. We feel like we are have an association that it validates us. It creates this. It creates within ourselves this identification of something solid, something unmovable, something strong. So then we will join together in it. We will create an alliance with it, whether it's a group, organization, whether associations with companies, or, you know, like I said, other affiliations, institutions. We will identify and be in such because we have a inner inherent desire to be part of something. What is this? We've gotten further away. So now, when I was up close, our perception was only what we could see at that moment. Stay with me, somebody who wants to grab a hold. Our perception is very narrow. When we think something is, I'm talking about ourselves, because we are very narrow-minded. You know, some people say, you know, and I've heard this before, oh man, wow, he's deep. And I would say to the person, I'm not deep. The question is, are you just shallow? What is deep? Smart, intelligent, genius, brilliant. What are these words that we have? Somebody tell me, what is this? Because we're getting further away from the closeness of a perception of which you might have thought it was. Now, let's now give another answer since we're further out. What is this? Stay with me because we're talking about us. We're talking about our perception. When I was close to that, some probably couldn't make out what it was. Some probably felt as though that they knew what it was. And if you think that it is something different, now that we get a broader view of it, what do you say it is? Yeah, I know the mic is picking up the wind. You gotta forgive me on that. It's okay. When we have a narrow perception of who we are by labeling ourselves based upon something we believe will strengthen us, equip us, validate us, we may be associating with us something or that thing that makes us weaker. You know, nothing against you all who are in the chat writing down questions or talking to other people. You know, when I started this YouTube thing, that used to be me on the chat, rah, 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 missing the gold nuggets of anybody. It doesn't matter who. Can I get to an understanding without a distraction of reading of what's in there, falling into debates and conversations that I might be missing the very key moment of the piece of my puzzle that can bring me into a place beyond where I think I am. What is that? So we're getting further away from it. Somebody said volcano. Somebody said it was a mountain. Somebody give me some answers, y'all. We 479. Peace and blessing to each and every one of you all as y'all are in. Somebody says pyramid. You know, what else we have here? What is this? What is this? Because our perceptions and our views is what enslaves us into a belief system. Somebody said it looks like a Rocky Mountain. "500 people in. A gigantic purified tree stump." Okay, what is it? Come on, y'all, let's participate. Because this is what my title is. Don't call me an African. Don't dare call me an African. But it doesn't stop there, because I know there are those who might have seen the title or those who may have presumptions of what I'm intending to say. And then we go off sometimes in these tangent conversations, and yet we don't realize maybe the importance of what the message is coming in a different direction. What is this? Right here behind me. You know, let's take a look at this object here. Not the young ladies. Oh no, we take a look at the young ladies, because the young ladies there are they're just the youth here. You know, they got their asses showing. You know, they got the G strings. That's just Brazil. You know, that's just Brazil. You know, we got our people out here jogging, exercising, bicycling, because we're on the beach. Because the beach, when you hear beach, many people think that it's only limited to swimming or sunbathing. But we see also here, you can play on it. Volleyball, football, or we call soccer. On this beach, there are a multitude of things. Y'all gotta stay with me now. A multitude of things you can do on a beach. But when we hear beach, we will say, oh, the beach. What do you do at the beach? Majority of people are gonna say, swim. Which is far from the truth. But let's get back to the question at hand. What is this? You know, I remember.
There is no longer an excuse or not knowing your truth. My ancestors were slaves in Africa. And also you too, your ancestors were slaves in Africa. Why? Because we also have to know that the truth is that some of the Africans, some of the chiefs in Africa, long time ago, during that slavery, sold the African or were also in that businesses of selling other Africans to the slaves, to the slave masters. Now, when you come to this Atlantic slave trade, you'll find that black is defined as non-existence. Evil or weak it is, and Africa was a place of refuge for many, many ancestors who can't be African. Okay? This subject is now deeper. Many are willing to dig into it, and especially since it is also scriptural. Now, when you listen to Go Back to Africa, you'll find that he often contradicts himself. He's not revolutionary minded, that too often reactionaries, but he has businesses that allow him independence, but it goes to show you money doesn't make the man. Like alcohol, it brings what inside to the surfaces. So he also speaks English, but I hope he heals from this. Wait, what makes ashamed of being black is that it always comes from the mind. Now, another unfortunate cases of someone getting in front of the camera during a personal crisis, just exact what kind of crisis it is. I'm not sure a mix of spiritual identity or self-realization is that making this man to be confused or to make it very, very unfortunate. But at the same time, we should give him this respect that what he is experiencing or is experiencing in his real mind is true. We don't have to agree with any of it, what he has always taught, but you also have to respect that he's trying to deal with it. As I said, he may have made a mistake turning on his camera to share before he fully processed his personal revelation or realization. However, to call him was a cheap shot. I don't want to call him bad, but I have seen many of his videos trying to discourage the black people not to come to Africa. Now, he from us and he seem have an affinity for African based on some of the videos I've watched a few years back. And when you watch his videos a few years back, you'll find that you got an impression that he has detached himself from African American past. Like, you are right, self-identification is really, really necessary, especially when someone else has enforced your identity via war. Slavery is as a result of war. And proud to be African American, Foundation Black American. Some word salad, okay, go back to. Don't write it. It is a trap on a line of application. Like, you are trying to say that now you are training us, go back to Africa. Then it is your time now to write, go back to America. Okay? He's finally smiling across the roses. We are not African. Why? Because we are the same complexion doesn't mean that we are African Europeans. Aren't considered the same as the Asian descent, considered the same people also. Middle Easterns are not considered the same. Read your Bible. You are not the same as the people in Africa and are the African Europeans. So, melanated people are the original, which means that we are the indigenous on all continents, and Africa did not all stay on one continent. Thousands of years ago, many ancestors migrated out of Africa to other places, and others were migrated through slave trade, that is transatlantic slave trade. And transatlantic slave trade, and up to the present day, you see melanated people migrated around the world. Like, they were transported in many different parts of the corner of the world. Now, I recommend everyone to read these books like African is Africa. Everyone is African. They come before Columbus, Nature Knows No Color, the Incius Papers, When the World Was Black, Part 1. So these are the books that I want you to go and read. That everyone is African. They come before Columbus. Nature Knows No Color Line. The ISIS Papers, and the last one the book is that When the World Was Black. That is part 1. These books will give you completely different insights about yourself, the world, and why people are different. So, great conversations. I consider myself to be an African. Okay, and also Africa is also part of me, no matter what other people think. And also, I believe you as African American, you believe the same way as I do. Like, it is the reason why people were taken, used, and abused. And that's why people usually don't want to get associated to this African American thing. Now, it is also the reason why you survived, you strive for more, and why you're also here today. Like, when you go to America, you'll find that people are being used, are being taken, and are also being abused. But they survived, they strived, and that is why they're being called, oh, that's why they're there today. Like, to stay who I believe I am, and I'm traveling. I'll want to one day to travel to several parts of Africa so that I can see that connection. I all know that you, as an how do I say, you as African, you as a African American, and you African American and me, I'm African. I know we have different cultures, we have different sense of viewing, sense of what, many things are very, very different. But when you go to the DNA, you'll know that I have also some DNAs. I don't know about the DNAs, but I know that we share somehow common DNA. Okay? Now, when you travel to African often, you'll find that you'll feel connected with the Africans. This is to the Africans. Now, African Americans have this ability, have this thing. You know, African American have always have that bad issue, bad connection with Africans. Like when Africans come to their country, to their continent, like that's America, you'll find that these are African Americans, the first people to discourage Africans, are the first people to abuse the as fellow Africans. And yet we know that you work several times, you do that, but you end up chasing your fellow black people, your fellow melanated people, just because they are from Africa. So it is war between the black people and the black people. Now, when you appreciate these people, when you travel when you travel to Africa, and you'll find you'll get connected, and also you appreciate the people of and their culture, and also their experience, and also you'll also have find time to respect, and also have time to learn about these people. Okay. Now, when you go to these videos of Go Back to Africa, you'll find that he really, really acts because he understands that the black Americans are support for everyone, but no one supports our healing when we get drained or destructive. So they get nothing, they can grow from and create and be creative with it. It always have to come from within the stolen from them, and I can see how they can get sad. It is a weird revolving doors. So lastly, labels don't keep people from unifying. Developing better quality of people, hence using tangible resources and emphasizing family first, and also the personal development. Second, emphasize community promotion, promote, emphasize better social practices and characters trait. Use the media programming differently. That Western Europe programming is not observed. Grow gives people the impactions and motivation to grow, progress, and refine their culture and living condition. Then you can and then later layer of you can and later have that layer of unity amongst the black people. That's why I was talking about the African and the black American stroke African Americans. So guys, thank you for watching this video, and I'm also grateful that you have listened and you have learned from both Go Back to Africa and me. See you in another episode. Salute.